There we are. Well, it seems like it's been forever because I didn't do it live yesterday. Let me just get the goal set up really quick. Let's just go for the moon today. If you're watching on the replay, you might want to fast forward through the first just couple of minutes here while I get my screens set up. How many are we going to go for today? Let's raise the bar today on the goal. Okay, let me skip my ads in front of me. Try to get my computer screen on the same wavelength as my desktop. No, I don't want that. There we go. 13 people. I don't see anybody in the chat yet. Okay, I still can't see my own chat. Why is this happening? Hey, Jewel, let me try this again. I'm trying to get into my chat here on the big screen. Now it's back. YouTube, it's 1 minute and 47 seconds, and I'm still trying to set it up. Let me turn off my notifications really quick. And I forgot to charge my phone. My phone was overheating last night. Yeah, my new iPhone that I haven't even paid off yet was overheating. So now it didn't get the charge that it needed before the show. Let's see, who have I missed? Cheryl, welcome in. Running Riot, Pauline Stansberry, Leanne Rayner. Jewel, you're my first pip of the day. Leanne is my second. How you guys doing, my pips? And my peps. For those of you sitting on the sideline, you know, 97 of you have become channel members. 97. That's incredible to me. Thank you so much for everybody that's joined. Of course, a lot of those have been gifted by one of my mods and myself when I can. But I don't have any more left to hand out until, I think, September 1st. Yeah, I know, 97. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. And I can't believe that it's 204 days later and we're still talking about Nancy Guthrie. And you know what? I still haven't got the WD-40 located yet to fix this squeaky chair that's driving me nuts. Hello, Thick. Thick? Okay, I don't even want to ask. Thick babe. I don't want to go there. What does that mean? Remember, this is an old people's channel. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't go live yesterday because I had oh God, there it goes again. I can't stop moving around and hearing that with the chair. I had to handle a little situation for a neighbor. And then I wanted to do laundry in 95-degree heat because I knew it would be better to do it in 95-degree heat out back than doing it in 100-degree heat that we have today. And that wasn't even supposed to hit until like Tuesday, Wednesday. So if it's already 100 today, the worst is yet to come. This is the time of the year. There's only a small time of the year that I hate Los Angeles. And today is one of those days. It used to never be like this time of the year, ever. We should be looking forward to September rain. Not going to happen. Okay, I got 36 people in the house. Let's just get this thing going. I'm April Davis, PI. I'm a California licensed, mostly retired private investigator. I have been reporting on the Nancy Guthrie case, amongst others, for 204 days now. Yeah, specifically Nancy, 204 days. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm not investigating her case in any way. This is an open discussion. That's why I put the thumbnail that I put today. Let's chat about the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping case. Remember, everybody here is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, if you guys want to discuss it amongst yourselves, feel free. Okay, now the chat just died. Am I still on the air? Let me know. Because it says I got 47 people in the house and only 6 thumbs up. Can anybody hear me? Sue Brock. Yes. Snappy Man sent the thumbs up. First jewel of the day. Thank you, Snappy. Yeah, I set my goals a little high today. I am live. Snappy times 2. Thank you so much, Snappy Man 5678. Another one of my pips, a member of the PI posse. I know we've talked this thing until we're blue in the face, but at day number 204, I have some very pertinent questions. I'm sure you guys have questions too. Put them in the chat. But let me just go over my questions. And if you guys have something you want to add or you want to respond to these, feel free. And I'll get to the chat as soon as I read them. It's not a long list. Maybe 10 or 12 questions. Thank you for the gold coin from Pauline Stansberry, my friend. Why was this case initially believed to be just a missing senior, considering the blood evidence at the front door? And maybe elsewhere, because they've never talked about what was inside the house. Remember, I heard about it Sunday night, Sunday, February 1st, while I was lying in bed. And it basically made it sound like a missing person. There was no indication that there was a crime, that there was blood, that there was a kidnapping. And by the next day, and here's question number 2, why was the crime scene released so quickly? Oh my gosh. Where have you been? You've been MIA, Sarapnel. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for coming in. Did you change your currency? I just noticed that. Did you change your currency, Saraf? I don't see the little Israeli shekel sign. Peggy, April, how are you doing today? Phoenix, Arizona here. Just hit the like button for you. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, my friend. I haven't seen you. Let me know how you've been doing. I've been reporting on a lot. Yeah, the channel's grown a lot in just the last couple of weeks. Subscriber count is it's slowly getting up there. It certainly took long enough, like 6 years. You're in New York? Are you living in New York, or are you just visiting New York, my friend? Everybody give Saraf a thumbs up on his super chats. Wow. Saraf, like I said, that's the first time I've seen you come in, and there was no Israeli shekel symbol. And I was like, whoa. How do you change your currency on your YouTube? That's awesome. Of course, I don't care how it comes. Thank you so much. Wow. Visiting for business a few days. Thank you. I'm going to just pause the show here. Wow. Well, welcome to the United States. Don't come to LA. It's 100 degrees. No, I'm kidding. If you want to come in to LA, call me. Running riot. What do you think about the guy who killed the police cadet having charges from trying to write bad checks at the gym show? I'm wondering if they hit the wrong house. They have 3 or 4 people involved. Oh, look. The cat ears. Connie LA66. Snappy sent the star. Oh my gosh. I'll answer your question in just a moment. Sarah. Oh my God. Wish you a great week. Thanks for the welcome. Yeah. I hope it's nicer in New York than it is in LA right now. We are smoking hot and dry. It's just gross. Jive. Weird lady. Time out. Come back tomorrow. Are you from New York? No, I'm not. But thanks for asking, Shelby. Okay. Let me get back to this. But thank you, everybody. Thank you for the jewels and the super chats. Wow. Okay, so I already read the first question. Why was this case initially believed to be a missing senior, considering the blood evidence at the house? Why was the crime scene released so quickly? Anywhere between 20 to 30 hours is what I'm hearing. Remember, timelines keep changing in this case. Now, I'm not saying anybody is guilty here. Not at all. Why did A&T act so strangely from the get-go? Why? Remember, they were the caregivers. They were the caregivers who cared for her on a regular daily or weekly basis. Why did they act so strange? I just want to know. I'm not saying that they're involved, because they may not be involved. What's on my hat? That's my microphone. Now, why didn't the Pima County Sheriff's Department take this case more seriously, considering this case would place Tucson on the map? Yeah, this was the mother of a celebrity. Not that her case should be given favor over somebody else's, but it's a celebrity case. It's going to put that guy, the sheriff, and that town on the map. Remember, Tucson is a little big city. And now here I have, the paper's making me itch. Sue, I will be in San Francisco on Thursday. I am on a cruise ship in Alaska. I remember that. So sad my older adult children had to stay home. I hope you sent me a postcard from Alaska. Just kidding. What'd you get me? No. I hope you're having a wonderful time. But I like to see your pictures or your videos from your trip, Sue. I want to know why they didn't take this case more seriously from the beginning and make it their top priority. Here's another one. People haven't talked about this in a long time, and I still want to know. And I can't remember because it's been 204 days. Was it the Sheriff's Department that did this, or was it the FBI? So we'll just say law enforcement. But why were the Arizona gun stores handed a list of potential clients, meaning gun store clients, with many Persian names? Originally, I heard the list was 20. Now I'm hearing it could be as much as 30 or 40. But they originally said there were 20 names, many of them Persian. Why were they going down the Persian angle? Did that have something to do with the casita and people who may have rented in the guest house in the past at Nancy's place, and maybe people that were receiving mail at that address? Why were those names coming up? Hello, Fran. Why were the volunteer searchers and search groups denied access from the start until now? Why did the family never appear to be looking for her? Why were flyers not distributed immediately out on the streets of Tucson? What did Savannah mean when she spoke publicly and said, "We did our part"? Once the second ransom note was received, why did the case seem to go dormant, knowing what we know now about that second ransom? I'll get to your questions in just a minute. Why was the FBI put off on the investigation for 5 days? Why? Are A&T in hiding because of guilt? God forbid, because I really hope they're not involved, or for their own safety and security. Because Savannah, the famous one, the one that's got all the money, she's not hiding. She even went to a soccer game in public. Why did DC, and you know who we're talking about, why did DC not provide any payment information, location, or address where to send the Bitcoin when he sent the text ransoms? Remember, hey, what about my Bitcoin? I'm waiting to complete the transaction. What transaction? Who are you? Who the F are you? Why would you not tell the family where to send the ransom when you know that others before you have already made ransom demands? Why would you not give a payment address? I have my thoughts on that. Why is the FBI not following up on the tip line calls and the letters? Everybody I've heard from is like, I didn't get a call back. I didn't get a response. Nothing. In fact, when you call them, unless you know where the body is, they don't even want to talk to you. What's that about? And my last question, which we've already talked about, is basically, why isn't anybody looking for her? Okay, now, let me scroll backwards, and we can go over this again. Fran, where are you coming in from? Sue says, okay, I will email them. Wi-Fi is spotty. It has rained the whole time. Not many good pictures. Wow. I bet it was fun, though. Alessandra, welcome in. Jewel, I think A&T didn't know how to handle the reporters. Maybe they were involved. Connie L.A., that's interesting. MK instructed Nanos how to handle this case. Sorry, in my opinion. No, go for it, Connie. We want to hear everybody's opinion. That's why I'm here. And Sue says, really, Connie? Think Savannah told MK something? Remember, he was involved within hours. Flyers are old school. Internet was used. Well, you know, Jewel, the people that are living out on the streets homeless, and they don't even have $1 to buy like a hot dog at 7-Eleven, most of them don't have a smartphone or access to the internet. You got to get the information out to people on the streets. What about that Circle K store that they were so interested in, the one that's right down the street from Annie and Tomaso's? They were very interested in that store for a long time, law enforcement. Why not put posters right up in that window for people who may, you know, the regulars in the neighborhood who may have stopped there late at night? Leanne, why no FBI posters of the porch guy? You think? Why no vehicle description? Why weren't the mats in various places on Nancy Guthrie's property not taken in for evidence? Exactly. And you know, right past the front door where they have, I don't have the background today of her house, but there's that little step with the railing right in front of that, where the dirt is between like the yard or lack thereof and the driveway. There were some sort of tire marks or track marks, and they were never like, you know, taken into consideration. That there were like little track marks there, like something was possibly wheeled out of that house. You know, the guy at the front porch, he had his hands in the plants and the weeds and was doing that to the Nest doorbell camera. And that was mixed in with her blood on the mat on the front porch. None of that was touched. Michelle says her thermometer says 120. Oh my gosh, Michelle. And I'm complaining that it's 100 here. Where are you, my friend? AP. Hello, nice lady. Greetings from England. I stopped following this case a long time ago. Is that poor woman still missing? Yes. Welcome from England, everybody. Or everybody welcome AP from England. I love seeing people from other countries come into the chat. Yeah, it's day number 204. And there's no progress on this case. Oh, you're by Vegas. Oh, okay, I remember you. Yikes. Ugh. Granny TT. Hey, April. Yeah, my mom used to live in Vegas, and she's no longer with us. And wherever she is right now, she's probably better off because she would be miserable if she was there right now. Granny, Chicago. Welcome in, Chicago. Judith. Only tracking dogs, not cadaver dogs. Why nanos? Why no silver? Why no silver? Like a silver alert? Left. Why nanos? There's a lot of whys. Yeah, they did bring in the tracking dogs from Homeland Security, from Border Patrol. Excuse me. But as far as I know, cadaver dogs have never been used. Remember, they've never searched for Nancy. There was the sniffer chopper or helicopter that was looking for a signal. And a few weeks later, there was a signal that was in the desert somewhere outside of Tucson, but, you know, close enough. And they simply searched by air. They never went to, and they actually had a pinpointed GPS location of a signal that was a mysterious signal that could possibly be a pacemaker, even if a person had died. It was never checked. Why? Judith says alert. Okay. Only tracking dogs, not cadaver dogs. Why nanos? Why no silver alert? Left. Why? Oh, why nanos? Like, yeah, why? Why did you not call the FBI right away? Because he says he did, but the FBI says that's not true. They even had a fixed-wing aircraft on the ground. Connie! Oh my gosh. Connie! Oh my God. I just mentioned that I had 97 at the start of this. Oh my God. We're almost close enough to get the 14th emoji unlocked. Granny TT, congratulations. Coco 5 Tribe. Gentle as a dove. Gemma Jenkins, and Diet Coke Addict all received gift memberships from Connie LA66. Connie, you're the best. Not necessary, my friend. Yeah, it seems like the top person that gets picked is someone that's in the chat, and then the other 4 are people that I've never heard of before. I think, is that a new thing with YouTube? Because remember, I got that hate mail or the comment from the lady, or did she email me? I'm trying to remember, did she email me or did she send a comment? Does anybody remember? And she was furious because somebody gave her a gift membership, and now she hates me. It was so funny. Like I said, I should have been saving all this stuff from the very beginning, and we could just do a whole video, even a long form video about, well, here's what happens when you go on YouTube. Cheryl says, sounds like a deliberate omission. Oh, I forgot they can win if they aren't here. Yeah, apparently so. I didn't know that. Oh, she emailed me. Yeah. Because, I have a public email for YouTube, aprildavispi @gmail. If you send through another email, you'll get blocked. But, you know what? Since right before I went on the air, I was hearing a lot of sirens. They sound like fire trucks, and I'm hearing them again. And that was 21 minutes ago. I've been on the air for almost 22 minutes now. Maybe people are having a lot of medical situations today because of the heat. God, I hope there's not a fire. I mean, not that I want someone to be sick either, but Pauline says, welcome newbies. Yeah, I think most of these people that got members that were gifted are people that are not here and have never been here before, based on the hate mail that I received. And she was going to report me or something. I forget. Like, is she going to be charged? And like, no, it's free, people. Odd thing to upset because you want a gift. I know, Cozy Sunflower Mom. Isn't that crazy? Like I said, if I had known that all these zingers were going to come through in the comments and the emails, oh my God, we could do a whole video about it. It almost seems like Nanos had to botch this case. He might be involved somehow. I have to wonder that, Kelsers, and welcome in. I do have to wonder that because, like I said, when I read these questions, I don't know if you were here, I read my questions, and one of the questions I had is, why was this case initially believed to be just a missing senior, considering the blood evidence, and why was the crime scene released so quickly? It seemed very odd to me. Ann Curry, welcome in. The flyers weren't even distributed. And, there's a lot of homeless people in Tucson. And I've said before that the homeless, they can know a lot. They can help solve crimes. But a lot of them that have been, approached by some of the YouTubers on the ground or the boots on the ground, I'll be like, who? What are you talking about? Because there's no posters up. There's no flyers. There's apparently one billboard that's left that's in Tucson, but that's it. And people are like, oh, but, put it out on the internet. Well, these people that are homeless, most of them don't have a phone they don't have a smartphone. There could be somebody that knows something and they don't even realize that they know something because they don't know about this case. Kelser says, I hope the FBI is investigating Nanos. I hope so too, but I don't know that they are. But supposedly they're overseeing the case, so they claim now. But they also claim that they're not the lead agency, that the Pima County Sheriff's Department is still the #1 leading agency on this case. And as far as I know, they're doing nothing. Now, the FBI, they were investigating at Nancy's property again, or next to her property, behind her property. The last few weeks, it's been a little active again since the Sheriff's Department released the first and the second ransom notes. And we basically had already knew what they were based on that former reporter who now has that website, that Crime Junkie website. We kind of already knew what they said, but they officially released them to the public. And once they did, more tips started coming in. Remember at the beginning, they didn't even want to hear your tips. When I called the FBI, unless I knew where the body was, they didn't want to talk to me because they had like 40 or 50,000 tips to go through. But now, those tips have dried up. They are drying up, people. But now they're looking out back again. But, it's 6 months later. Almost 7. What are they going to find? You know, they've had all those monsoonal rains in the summer, and if there was something there before, it's probably washed away. It's 20 miles away by now. Oh, yeah, like, I mean, and my last question that was on the list is basically, why isn't anyone currently looking for her? You know what? That could be true. That probably is true, Tot. But we can't talk about politics on here. I'm just going to tell you now, but I'm going to just put you in a 24-hour timeout, and then you can come back tomorrow knowing the rules. There you go. Oh, that A&T are so sus. To me, there's just too much information pointing to them being involved. I had questions about them. Why did A&T act so strangely from the get-go? Although I reminded everybody here, if you weren't here, Kelsers, everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Are they missing because they're hiding? Like, I don't want to be found in case, you know, someone's going to come after me and arrest me? Or are they hiding because they're security? Margaret! Oh my gosh! Where's my hide button? Margaret! Thank you, Margaret. Everybody give Margaret a like on her super chat. Appreciate that. I don't know how to do live chats. Well, you're in one right now, Tommy Reeser. Tommy, oh, I know who you are. Are you Tommy from Ecuador? Come on, you're being facetious. I don't know how to do live chats. Are you Tommy, or are you just pretending to be Tommy? Because I know who Reese is, and I know who Tommy is, and I watch you, my friend, if that's you. Is that really you, or is that just someone pretending to be Tommy and Reese from Ecuador? Did you steal their picture? I'm going to have to go ask him now. Did you come into my chat? Is that really you, my friend? Nope. I didn't think you were. I think you are an imposter. Because they have separate usernames, Tommy and Reese. But that's, you know, that's pretty funny. Thank you, Pauline. She says, hey, I'll click the thumbs up. I don't think either of them are working. If you think they were hiding, they would still work. Yes, I agree. Innocent until proven guilty. Is this Reese? You guys can always email me. Let me know. Jackie, another one of my pips. Welcome in. Good evening, April and everybody. Hi, April. Any more on Hilton? I got a few things. You know, I did release the long form video Friday night after I released the live, or actually I did the live on Friday, and I said I may or may not release it, and I did. And about 5 or 10 minutes later, I just took it down because I'm like, you know what? We've already covered all this on the live, and I don't think it's good to repeat everything then on a long form because it just doesn't bring in the views, and it could tank my algorithm. That's still a very it hurts my heart, and so I was like, you know, I put it up and then I took it down, but I have since heard things about that. Hey Jay, welcome in, my friend. Nice to see you again. Mimi, Jay, some of my regulars are coming in. Yeah, yeah, I'll talk about Perez in a minute. Right now, I read, if you haven't seen the beginning of the video, go back to the beginning, you know, later, because I have the questions about the crime scene. Why was it not reported as, you know, the crime that it was? Kelsers, thank you for the makeup brush. There's no updates, but I do have the list of pertinent questions that we just went over. And these things are big. And if you guys want me to read it again, I'll be happy to read it again for those that just came in. Lori Smith sent I saw it on my desktop. Where is it? Oh, there it is, the party hat. There it pops up. I guess my phone is 2 seconds behind the desktop view. I got 61 people in the room right now. Can you give me a thumbs up, please? Can you give me a subscribe? Everything is such a mystery and nothing is ever easy. So I'll go through it just really, really quick in case you guys didn't hear this. Why was this case initially believed to be just a missing senior case, considering the blood evidence? Why was the crime scene released so quickly? Remember, they said 20 hours, and they said 30 hours. Everything flip-flops back and forth, but even before the FBI was brought in, it was already released, and then it was stomped on and trampled. Why did A&T act so strangely from the get-go? Remember, I am a expert at body language because of what I did for a living. Well, I kind of still do because I'm still a licensed PI. I'm just not actively involved in it right now because of my health for the last 7 years. But why did they act so strange? But everybody here is innocent until proven guilty. I'm not saying that they're involved because personally, I don't know if they are or they are not. Why didn't the Pima County Sheriff take this case more seriously, considering this case would place Tucson on the map? Because this involves the mother of a celebrity. Why were the Arizona gun stores handed a list of potential clients by law enforcement with many Persian names? I think I know the answer to that. Donna McCoy, my friend, how are you? Welcome in. Why were the volunteer searchers and search groups denied access? From the very beginning, Kelsers sent the, what is that? GGs? I've never seen those before. Thank you. Why did the family never appear to be looking for her? Saying, hey, where's my mother? And help me find my mother, you know? Why were the flyers not distributed immediately out onto the streets of Tucson? Because I guarantee you there are people living on the streets that still don't know about this. What did Savannah mean when she spoke publicly and said, we did our part? What does she mean? Once the second ransom note was received, and that was the 6th, that was 5 days later. Once the second ransom note was received, why did the case just seem to go dormant? Did they believe those notes? Especially the second one that said, oops, sorry, she's dead. Goodbye. Nobody does that. Nobody writes a ransom note and says, oh, sorry, she died. And she's buried in nature. What the heck is that? Why was the FBI put off for 5 days? Why are A&T in hiding? Is it because of guilt or for their own personal security? Because we don't know who did this yet or who still could be in danger. Remember, they have a minor child. But, you know, Savannah, and she's the one that you would be like the most likely target. She's out in public going to soccer games and walking around in airports without bodyguards. I mean, what is that about? And this is one of my biggest questions, Kelsers, if you didn't hear me earlier, because I know we've talked about this before. Why did DC not provide a payment location or address, like a Bitcoin address, when he sent the text ransoms? He's demanding ransom money, but if you're gonna write a ransom letter or send a ransom text, you're gonna tell the family where to send the ransom. He never even said this is regarding Nancy or hello, we have your mother, we have Nancy. He never mentioned Nancy. Remember, the first note that came in by email was like, Dear Savannah, and it was very specific. We have your mother. The text ransoms never mentioned Nancy, never mentioned the kidnapping. It was just like, hey, how about my Bitcoin? I'm waiting to complete the transaction. Well, how are you going to complete the transaction if you don't know where to send the money? That's a big, giant, red flag. And people go, oh, well, he could have just looked up their phone numbers on the internet. Yeah, but he's in the same group of people that know Annie and Tommaso. Why is the FBI not following up on the tip line calls and the letters? I haven't heard back from them. Other people are like, yeah, you can't even barely get through, and they want to hang up on you. Unless you know where the body is, they don't want to talk to you. And I'll end it. I'll say this again for the 1,000th time. Basically, why isn't anybody looking for her? Yeah, to me, those ransoms are false flags to throw off the investigation. I think someone paid DC to write that letter, and his court date should be interesting. It is going to be interesting, isn't it, Kelsers? But we may never really know about that. Denise, hi, April and Pips from England. That's the second person tonight that came in to see me from England. DC was involved and was a participant and already knew the Bitcoin address. Possible. Just saying. But everybody here is innocent until proven guilty. Let me take a sip of my, I got like, this is the last one. Bundaberg Diet Ginger Beer. Too many lateral areas to investigate, such as nonprofits, island guy, politicians, etc. They wanted it shut down quickly. Or no, quietly. Quietly. Okay. I misread that, Lori. Too many lateral areas to investigate. Okay. We can go down the rabbit holes here. Everybody is entitled to ask questions or provide an opinion. Because, this is an unsolved case, and I'm trying to keep it relevant. But I just can't go on every single day and talk about something that we've already talked about. Like I read all the, what's the breaking news or the latest updates, and everything I read today was basically things I've read before. Like, oh, it's day number 204. We've already reached the 200-day milestone, or, no, it didn't say it was 204. It said, oh, we reached 200. Yeah, that was 4 days ago. Now it's 204. We already know that. Like, that article wasn't worth me printing out or cutting and pasting all day. Me too, Kelsers. Very good question or statement. I would love to know what was in those boxes they carried out of A&T's house. Yes. And I'd also like to know what were in the boxes that Tommaso carried out in bankers' boxes from Nancy's house. Morph into your spirit animal, the aging cougar temptress. Okay. I would like to know what was removed from that. Remember, the FBI and the Sheriff's Department spent more time at the daughter's house investigating than they did at the scene of the crime, which was released in the first 20 to 30 hours for people to walk all over it and traipse it and touch it and take pictures of it. But yet, their car was gone for 41 days over at Tommaso and Annie's, and it was a 3-ring circus over there as well, not just at Nancy's house, but at Annie and Tommaso's house. But there was more investigating going down over there than at Nancy's. They even talked to Annie Tommaso's neighbors. Yes. Remember, the neighbors got their backyard searched. We talked about that. Don't know, Dano, but I have my suspicions. Denise, I would like to know if anyone checked who was renting all the Airbnbs near Nancy's. I hope so. But if somebody was renting an Airbnb and they were involved in this crime, it still has to be connected to somebody who intimately knows that house, that property, her situation, that she was there living alone. Because the public wouldn't have known that she was there alone. The public wouldn't have known what type of cameras she had or didn't have, or alarm systems or panic buttons, or were there monitors set up at the daughter's house that was 10 minutes away so they could always look to see what was going on. Remember, the masked guy, he was walking around that property in January, as early as January the 11th, maybe sooner. And they just couldn't get that off the camera because she didn't have a subscription. But nobody saw that on January the 11th, there was a masked man walking around. And then that same masked man returned the night of the crime. I still wonder what time Tommy got back home from Nancy's house. That's a very good question. But remember, everything we've heard from the sheriff regarding timelines keeps changing. Just the timeline, like when the lady from the church service called and said, hey, she didn't show up. What time? Now we've got 11:56 that they called 911. But what time did they go to the house from the time they were called? When exactly was 911 called? When did they call Savannah? A lot of time had passed between the time that Annie Tommaso knew about this before Savannah was reached, as far as I'm concerned. But I can't prove that. But it just, by what Savannah has says, it seems like she knew much later in the day. Hello, Nanette. Deanna says, in my opinion, Nanos is very incompetent. His lead investigators on this case were incompetent, lack of experience, but I have no training and I would have known to take the map for DNA. Exactly. Oh, you cannot believe a word that comes out of CN's mouth. I agree. And that makes you suspicious. Lori sent the treat. Thank you for the treat. I'm up to 441 in Jules today. Let's see. I think I'm caught up. Wow. Yeah, I mean, hashtag justice for Nancy. I still want her found. And I want the people who did this to be prosecuted. Hello from Scotland. Wow, we've got England in here today from 2 different people and now Scotland. So the UK is coming through today. And our friend from Israel was here, coming in from New York City. You are Beth from England. Denise is, no, you're saying hello to Beth from England. So Denise is from England and Beth is from Scotland. Welcome in. I want to know if there are or were cameras inside. Do you mean Nancy's house? Ashley Banfield's source said the blood splatter inside was similar to the outside. See, I originally believed that there was blood in the house too, but they're wishy-washy on that. Oh, okay. I want to know if there are or were cameras inside of the house. I'd like to know. Jay! Thank you, Jay. Let me give you a heart on that on the desktop screen. Everybody give Jay a like on the thumbs up. Yeah, I didn't go live yesterday because I just had a lot of stuff going on that I had to handle. And it's so frigging hot here today. I'm just like, I haven't even looked outside today. I've not opened up my front door. I haven't gone out to the trash, the recycle. I did all that yesterday. Did the laundry in the 95-degree heat because I knew today was going to be higher, but I didn't know it was going to be 100. When you look at the weather and the lows is in the 70s, when that's usually our highs, you know we're in trouble. I don't think Nancy is buried in Tucson. I don't know what to think about that anymore, Kelsers. Because I don't think they expected her to die if it was a kidnapping, and that's a big if. But if she did die unexpectedly, I think they would have had to get rid of a body quickly. That's why I think they should at least be looking for a body. But she could be in Timbuktu. 70s in India. Oh, Jay, I hate you. No, I'm kidding. It was 103 in San Diego yesterday. See, that's just impossible. The only city in America where it's always 72 degrees. Oh, my God. Still waiting for Lynette. Who is Lynette? Audrey Smith. Emerald Eyes, welcome in. Sergeant Bill said, they need to do a jail sweep, telling inmates they could possibly cut a deal on their drug charges or burglaries if they could give some information in the Nancy Guthrie case. Yeah, I know everybody that they're arresting, whether it's Pima County Sheriff's or Tucson PD, they are asking that at the jail for the intake, like, hey, you know anything? But that's a good idea to do that again, if they haven't already. Oh, Lynette Hooker. Yeah, I'm not talking about Lynette Hooker. But I know who she is. The lady that, disappeared off the boat in the Caribbean with her husband. Deanna, my question is, why is Nanos still there and Nanos hasn't been fired? Because he's an elected official. What happened to his case of falsifying his employment? And don't get it. Yeah, because he only had so many weeks to reply when they had questions about the falsifying of the records. And he did a written reply. But then there was a petition that was passed around Tucson to have him, politically removed. But I guess they didn't get enough signatures. But, I mean, we're not going to go political here, but you have to ask, why is the President of the United States still allowed to be sitting in that office right now? But he is, and it's scary. It was reported to the supervisors. What was reported to the supervisors? Attorney General is deciding whether to prosecute for perjury. Okay. Yeah, we talked about it in the past, but even that seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? Oh, apparently the petition didn't get the needed signatures. Yes, that's what I just said. Yeah. The world is asking that question as well. Yeah, it's a lot harder when you're an elected official than just a regular employee. The FBI needs to be looking into that. Someone said perhaps SG is hiding things because the tangerine toddler said he would seek the death penalty for whoever hurt Nancy. I know that he offered assistance and supposedly even called Savannah Guthrie the week that this happened, offering any type of federal assistance that she needed. And the FBI was knocking on the door, but the lights are on and nobody was home at the sheriff's station. And the crime scene was getting destroyed. And they were still like ringy dingy dingy, hey, it's the FBI, can we come help you? Remember, they even had an airplane, supposedly, a fixed-wing aircraft, waiting to take that DNA to Washington, that rootless hair strand. Nano sent it to Florida. And that cost Pima County taxpayers a lot of money to send those DNA samples to Florida, when they could have just gone straight to the FBI lab at no cost to Pima County. POTUS hasn't broken laws like Nanos. Well, like I said, we're going to try not to get political here, unless I say so. But yeah, you got a question. Why is the guy still in office? The Tucson Council didn't have enough votes to kick Nanos out of office. That's what I'm hearing, that they didn't even have enough signatures by registered voters. Remember, somebody voted them in. Unless there was election fraud, which you would hope not. Arizona's in a bad way right now, especially Pima County. Yeah, let's not start arguing in the chat, because then I'll have to take people out. So I'll just give everybody an advance notice. No arguing in the chat. Kelsers, this is all going as planned. For amateurs, they have done a good job covering their tracks in this investigation, probably because they have Nanos' help. I gotta wonder at this point. And I'd like to know about all the rumors, the gambling rumors. Is any of that true? No matter who it pertains to. The rumor that one of the ladies in the church confessed to somebody that Annie had asked for a loan. That could just be completely BS and made up. Do you believe the Ashley Banfield rumor that a federal law enforcement source told her that Tommaso was the prime suspect in the beginning of this? There's a lot of questions here. Why did this happen? But there's no way a sheriff that is 72 years old, that's had a full law enforcement career, would make the type of mistakes that have been made in this case, unless it was intentional. I don't know. I'm not going to accuse him of anything. First, I wanted to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, but I can no longer do that. You know what? I haven't been following that. If you mean the cadet that got fatally wounded, April, do you think the latest killings in Tucson had something to do with Nancy's case? Maybe those criminals could have been involved. I haven't been following that much. I know that they've made an arrest. If you're talking about that case, where the Tucson police cadet was the victim of a home invasion. Denise says it makes you think if were Pima County Sheriff's Department involved, they certainly have a few corrupt deputies. All this is going to come out if this is the case, if there's any type of a cover-up. That's why the FBI, they need to be looking over it. But they're not the perfect agency either. And I'm speaking from experience. I think it was obvious T was a suspect at first because of them searches. You mean the searches at their house and of their car, like the taking of the car for so long and law enforcement being at the house? Remember, they were in there at night, like in the dark, probably doing luminol testing. I mean, I know it takes a while if you strip a car down to put it back together, but remember Luke Daly, he had his car back in like 24 to 36 hours or whatever it was. Remember how quickly he had his car back? Thank you, Donna. She says, hit that like. Everybody hit the like button. But this is 204 days later. Now what do they have? Because remember, the FBI has cleared no one, but Nanos is saying that the family's in the clear. And maybe they really are. But I wouldn't clear anybody until this is all solved, and I certainly wouldn't have released a crime scene. You got to treat this case extra, extra, extra special because of who she was. And everybody should get equal treatment, but this is going to be like the biggest case in the world. You got to know that you got to be extra, extra careful with the crime scene and the evidence and the interviews. Denise says they have absolutely nothing. I'm beginning to think so. I was trying to be positive, like they've already got their suspect in mind. They've already got their people in mind. They're just waiting to dot the I's and cross the T's. But now I'm really thinking that they got nothing. Because as soon as it was announced that they didn't really get anything from that rootless hair, it seemed like everything was just over. Who was Santiago? Is he involved in the cadet case? Because I haven't followed that the last couple of days. Looks like a cross between ZJ and LD. Kind of creepy. I know. Who's paying all the bills, Nanette? My head scratches. Wonder why A&T have been missing for months now, especially when Savannah is out in public, walking around. You know, and you know that this is the Savannah factor. You know that it's connected to money or lack of money. Maybe jealousy. You know, we don't even know that this was a legit kidnapping. We don't know that the ransom notes are real or they're red herrings or they're just a-holes that are like, let's take advantage of some family's tragedy and try to get a few coins out of this. And that's what they thought was the situation with Derek Kalala. But in his text ransoms, he never said where to send the money, where to send the Bitcoin. Oh, the cadet case, yeah. Like I heard about it like when it happened, but I haven't been following it since because I'm just trying to keep this going and Perez going and Jackie and lack of searching biggest mystery to me makes me think they don't want someone's skeletons unearthed. Especially turning away the Cajun Navy and they're willing to come in and spend big bucks at their own expense. Who pays them? Like how can they afford to do all these searches if they're working for free? Because I used to get that question all the time when I was a PI, like, do you do pro bono cases? Like, no, because I have to pay my rent and eat like everybody else. And I live in one of the most expensive cities in the country. And, I don't have a law enforcement pension or retirement because the bad eyes, if you're going to hire April Davis PI, I'm going to have to charge for it. So how can they have all this equipment and bring all these volunteers out, for nothing? Those people have to stay in hotels and they have to eat, they have to travel to get there. And then they've been turned down at least 3 times. Remember, Alec Murdoch was not brought in until 400 days after the crime. Okay, I didn't know that. I don't know a lot about that case. I mean, I know a little bit about most of these people, but I don't like to get into, like, I was following the Nolan Wells case at the beginning, but a lot of stuff has happened on that I haven't been able to keep up with it because I have to, at some point I have to go to sleep at night, but that's a good point, Emerald. Uh-oh. You're permanently blocked. I'm not even going to give you a 24-hour timeout. That's just, you're blocked, man. I can't believe it will almost be a year ago in February. I know. Well, hopefully we won't have to wait that long. Kelsers, if A&T are involved, they are better off turning themselves in. I would not be able to live in hiding like that. Yeah, because you are not a criminal, Kelsers. You have a conscience. You're a good person. And just because they're creepy doesn't mean they're criminals. But I'm not comfortable with the witch stuff and the creepy music, but that doesn't mean that they're killers or kidnappers. But I'm not comfortable with all the money that's being spent and who's paying for what now. And remember, I was the only YouTuber to this day, probably because I'm not big enough to make a darn when it comes to the boots on the ground. But what about that second mortgage? I talked about that from week 1. And nobody's asking questions about that. Donnie says, you seem like a good person. Well, I sure hope so, being a licensed detective. Oh. I like that comment. Kelsa snakes are comfortable slithering into their dens. I agree with you, Donnie, but you know what? We can't talk politics, so I'll take you out for 24 hours and then you can come visit me tomorrow if you promise not to talk about it. Um, it's heartbreaking that NG has ended up like this. I know, Denise. Uh, you know what? I did a video about that. I think I actually have a thumbnail, Renee, that said something is rotten in Denmark. We talked about that. But that was like, months ago. But we talked about that. And I don't think it was on like a long form video. I think it was on one of my lives about something being rotten in Denmark. Yeah, this has smelled from day one. Or I should say day two. Because it happened on Sunday, February 1st, and the public didn't hear about it until Sunday night, but most people weren't really catching on until that following week. So I'll say day two. Something was rotten in Denmark. Yeah, exactly. Just because they are Wiccans or into dark poetry and music. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't follow all that, Emerald Eyes. But I have been following Nancy Guthrie from day one. And the case the true crime case that I think I know the most about is JonBenet Ramsey. But that's still an unsolved case as well. So I got to be very careful what I say. But I did one video about that. It was about the death of the housekeeper. If you haven't seen that live, go back and see that live. But once again, I have to be very careful what I say. And I've said before, I don't know if Annie and Tommaso are involved in this because I'm not investigating the case. Are they creepy as you know what? Yes. Are there red flags? Yes. Are there lots of questions? Yes. But does that mean they're involved? No. And if it turns out that they're not involved, they're going to be able to civilly litigate against a lot of people. They'll probably never have to work again because they'll be rapid firing the lawsuits out there. I hope that they're not involved, just for Savannah's sake. And I've always wondered, Savannah, are you living in a dream world over this? Or has it got to the point that maybe she really doesn't, even if it's just from a subconscious standpoint, maybe she doesn't really want to know. She's trying to block it out of her mind. Oh, exactly, Kelsers. You're so much in line with my thoughts. Hopefully, Savannah isn't living in a bubble. She better keep an open mind. Yeah. And remember, when she was hiding out with Annie Tommaso in Tucson, when she came out, they were originally she was staying with Annie and Tommaso at their house, but then the heat was getting a little too heavy there in more ways than one, and they fled and went to a secret location. But they were all together. In Savannah, you could tell she was totally destroyed, but yet others were acting like they had something to hide. Oh, I'm I Hammer time. What do you think about CERN Miss? CERN Miss. I don't know what you're saying. Um, Make it make sense. Okay, we're talking about Nancy Guthrie, Hammer Time. You're in the wrong chat. I think I've seen you before. They were all together. It was getting hot and heavy. What did I miss? Just that Savannah and her family were together when this verse happened. They were all staying under the same roof. So while Savannah was, crying and looking for her mother, or concerned about her whereabouts, she was staying with the people that were considered allegedly the prime suspect. But you can always go back in the chat. I feel like A has been so fake. Yeah, like I told you, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've been doing what I've done for a living for 42 years, 35 full time, obviously, until, cancer brought it all down. But I'm still a PI, and I still haven't lost my PI smarts, and I still help people. Yesterday, I helped a neighbor just to help her, and she called and crying and like, are you still doing this? And I'm like, well, I still have my license, but, I'm mostly retired, but, what can I do for you? And I helped do some research for her and gave her some suggestions, because I still got it up here, and she's like, I don't trust anybody else but you, April, and, how can you help us? And so I did that yesterday, and then I decided to do the laundry because it was only 95, and today was going to be like 99, but now it's 100. So I thought, you know what, I can just hold off until Sunday because I'm going to lock myself in the house, and I'm going to do the live. Her body language and fake tears have not fooled me. I don't like this. Don't look at me. I know I just hit my mic, but whenever I do that, I knock my mic. I'm sorry. Why? Why show deceit, deception, shame, whatever you want to call them, embarrassment? Why? Just be looking for your mom. When you see Savannah, who is the famous one, the one with the money, the one that has the most to risk security-wise, and she and her husband are out, with their friends at a soccer game in a big stadium that's got like 100,000 people or whatever. But yet the caretakers that were with her every day, every week, making her dinner every Saturday night and playing her mahjong or whatever she plays, they just disappear. And then the locals are like, oh, well, he already wasn't working long before this happened. And she's a poet. Like, oh, well, does she make a living at that? Or is that just a hobby? Like, what's going on? And then you meet these people in the neighborhood that have been interviewed, and they're like, yeah, we didn't even know our new neighbors. And, the neighbors across the street said they're very standoffish and nobody's ever seen her. And there's weird noises coming out of the backyard at night. Like, who are the weird new neighbors? And then all of a sudden this happens. Nobody seems to be going to work. What's that about? I don't think Savannah's writing checks, supporting her siblings. I wouldn't. I've helped people out at times, and now wish I didn't. What's that saying? You can give somebody a fish, or you can teach them to fish. If you're going to help somebody, teach them. There's some guy who just got a big contract with the Dodgers, and now his family, who he's helped for years, they're bashing him because they think, well, he's got $69 million and he's not supporting us anymore. And he's like, you got to stand up and help yourselves. Who's paying those bills? Even Nancy was self-sustaining at 84. But she did take out that loan. She did take out that second mortgage. I want to know why, especially with all these rumors that somebody was hitting her up for money, and she was desperate. My mother was taken advantage of for years by a family member, for years. But she chose to live that way. And every time somebody tried to give her an out, God bless her, rest in peace, Mom, she wouldn't take that. She wouldn't take that opportunity to be set free. And so the last 20, 30 years of her life, it was horrible. I'm sad that she's gone, but I'm almost relieved because it's like, well, nobody's taking advantage of her anymore. It's terrible what some people choose. There's an old saying, you make your own bed, you have to sleep in it. It's terrible. And, Nancy she was very reliant on the caregivers because her son, he's in Vermont, Savannah's in New York. She didn't want to go to a nursing home, apparently, or an assisted living facility. She wanted to stay in her home. So she had to rely on Annie and Tommaso to keep her lifestyle the way she wanted it. And look what happened. She was alone. She was exposed. And somebody in the middle of the night came into her house. Now, did they break in? Did they have a key? Did they just walk in? Were the doors unlocked? Somebody came into her house, dragged her out of her bed in the middle of the night, if you believe what Savannah believes, and they took her in her pajamas. No hearing aids, no glasses, no cell phone, no wallet, no medication. Can you imagine? And she had to rely on the caregivers to keep her safe. And they failed. So maybe that's why they feel embarrassed, guilty, like, oh, it's our fault, don't look at us. But then try to make up for it and go out and look for your mother. I'd be looking for my mom, even if I had to hire somebody, I'd be looking for her. What got me was the loud moaning and crying out at the flowers in front of the house. There was a lot of strange behavior there. Okay, let me go back. I'm going to read this again. Her body language and fake tears have not fooled me. Says Kelser's Lori, something makes me think involves Charles' side of the family and Savannah knows. Anything is possible. Emerald Eye says, sorry, I don't feel sorry for Savannah anymore after her latest shenanigans and throwing YouTubers under the bus that are doing more to look for her mother than she ever has. Yeah, I still don't have any proof that Savannah was the one who threw them under the bus. I think that will all come out. XP from this event will be returned to the universe to satisfy karmic debt. I'm totally lost there. What got me was the loud moaning and crying. Okay, I saw that. Has the brother ever said anything? Nope. The brother did do a short video. Oh, I remember that now. Yeah. But it was just like a prepared statement, like the Savannah and the family videos. A&T have never done a video. They can still be hiding and make a video. True. So easy today. Anybody that's got a smartphone can do it. Oh, Savannah is writing checks to her sibs? I don't know. Mom and Nancy not writing checks anymore. Yeah, I don't see a foreclosure notice up in their front lawn or on their door, but, I'm not in that neighborhood. She's not selling any jewelry. Her business allegedly is for sale. He's not teaching. So where's the money to pay the bills? That's a very good question, Annette. Not to mention they have a child to take care of. Exactly. Is the child even enrolled in school? Up there, I just saw this, Nanette. Yes, the son should be attending school. Who is Charles? Charles is Nancy Guthrie's deceased husband, who died very young when the children were still quite young. Eileen, hello. Yeah, well, I've gone much longer than I anticipated to go on this. But yeah, if you didn't see the beginning of the video and you want to go to the replay, and I've read these questions 2 or 3 times, they could be homeschooling, but we don't know. It's just like they vanish off the face of the earth. There's no sign of nothing. How can nobody be seeing them? They're the most recognizable faces in the world right now. Nobody said like, oh, there they are walking down the street in Italy or... Apparently nobody saw them hardly when they moved into the house. Like most of the neighbors didn't even know they were living there or who they were because they were kind of unfriendly. Well, not that they were mean, but they just, as the one neighbor said, they were standoffish. He is a teacher, so the son could be homeschooled. Yeah, but you can't just like do it on your own. You have to register somewhere with an organization or a school. Nancy drove a few errands Saturday morning. Could one of those errands point towards the missing piece? That's a very good question, Ginger. Hopefully the police have the answers to that. Homeschooling can be done from anywhere. Yeah, but you still have to register, like with a school or an organization. You have to be able to prove that, you did the hours each day or each week and that they passed each class and so forth. Hello, pickled bird. Yeah, where is he? Everything's just radio silent on this. And Nanos, remember, he was talking to the press all the time. And then remember Nancy Grace? Yeah, the other NG. And she was like, Nanos, shut your pie hole. And all of a sudden now he's just, has nothing to do with her. But, he was a media star when this started. And now he's barely saying a word. His butt's in the hot seat. He knows it. But, why is nobody looking for her? Emma. I don't know who that is, Emma. Still think Ivan Miller has similarities to the perp. Just my opinion. Who agrees or disagrees? I don't know who that is. Oh, I love Denise. I love Nancy too. I've actually met her before. She's a Georgia love bug. But yeah, remember how much he was talking and all the press appearances, and then the heat got too hot in the kitchen and he just kind of went silent on this. So was NG having a caretaker? It was her family and they didn't live with her. Macaulay Culkin? He's my former neighbor. Yeah, he just moved a few months ago, him and Brenda, but they're still pretty close, but I'm not going to say where they're at. But no, I'm not Macaulay, but I am his former neighbor. And a company that I worked for did a movie with him. Oh, okay. Ivan Miller is the crazy guy that killed 3 women in Utah. Go look at his mugshot and compare to the perp. Okay, I will. Was she on meds? You mean Nancy? She was on a lot of meds. And they didn't, life-saving meds that they didn't take with her. And, I'm on, similar meds because of my heart, and I'm young enough to be your daughter, and I wouldn't survive 24 hours without my meds. And how do I know that? Because prior to surgeries where they've had to cut things off because they don't want me to flatline on the table, I've been almost dead by the time I've made it to the surgery room, especially if you go to the hospital and they're like, oh, the doctor's behind and your morning surgery is now scheduled for late this afternoon. And by the time you almost get there, you're almost dead, because you haven't had your morning meds. So at her age and a pacemaker and not to have her meds, she was going to go like that. You think they would have known all this? See, I'm still questioning what is the original motive of this crime? What was this really meant to be? Did she have dementia? From what we're hearing, absolutely did not. Kelsers, it's almost like Nanos hopes people will stop asking and talking about her. Exactly. I hope Savannah sues PCSD. I think there's going to be a lot of court litigation that's going to come from this case. But the criminal part has to be handled first, and then all the civil lawsuits are going to start rolling in. Because I'm still hopeful that there's going to be a criminal proceeding first. And that's why you're never going to hear me on my YouTube channel telling my audience or anybody who I think is involved. This is still an open criminal investigation. That's no longer just a kidnapping or an abduction. This is a homicide at this point. And if the homicides were called in, the homicide detectives were called in, but they had no experience on day one, why was this just reported to the press as a missing senior? They knew right away that there was a crime scene. It wasn't just somebody walked out the door. I'm starting to think money wasn't the motivation. I think it was to hurt Nancy. See, we don't know the motive yet, Kelsers. That's just it. But I say money and revenge. I say the Savannah factor, number one, somebody close to her, number two, or a combination thereof. You will never convince me burglary, robbery, home invasion, or some perp had the wrong house. Nope. You'll never convince me that it was the lone wolf theory on this case. I don't think so in this particular case. Like somebody that was obsessed with, let's say, Savannah, and they couldn't get to her, so they got to the mom instead. And it was just a one-man operation. At that particular property, I don't think so. I could be wrong. Remember, I'm not investigating the case. This was a organized, planned operation. And my guess is, the chefs and the waiters, multiple people involved. If someone needed money this bad, they would have taken the reward money by now. You would think that a relative or a friend or an associate, like a coworker or somebody, would have taken the reward money by now. Denise, I agree. I'm no mathematician, but nothing adds up. Nothing has added up about this case from day 2. Uh-oh. Goodbye. Nanette says, Denise, I agree. Nothing added up. Yeah. And here we are, day number 204. And I'm 84 minutes into it. And I think I need to go get some food just to lift me up. Because remember, every day is a struggle for me, health-wise. And I don't do well in the heat. Not trying to complain. I love Los Angeles. I love California. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But this is the time of year that at night, I lay in bed and I watch my snow in Alaska videos. Because I'm just like, oh, can I just go to bed and dream about snow? And I'm certainly not a snowbird, but this is hard for me. This is disgusting. And God forbid there's like another emergency. Like last night in my neighborhood, there was a power failure that affected like 600 people. And when I looked on the map, it showed like my building, but my building wasn't hit. And then I started getting alerts from the LEDWP, like, yeah, there's a power outage in your area. Like, but my building, my unit wasn't affected. But, and I thought, they're like, well, maybe they'll have it back by midnight. And I'm like, oh my God, it's almost 100 degrees, predicted for the coming days. And somebody's power's out and their AC is not running and all their food is melting in the refrigerator. Like, oh, like if something emergency happened, I'd have to take my animals and go to a hotel. I can't afford that. Like, I I hate living on the edge like this. Like this, I mean, this has got to go. Because we don't really get into our really bad weather until like September, sometimes all the way through October and November. And it's only August 23rd. And we've hit the triple digit mark. Like, they'll be drinking those holiday Starbucks in Tucson sooner than we'll be able to do that in LA. And I don't know about Starbucks, but my local Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, they've already released the fall drinks. And, I can't go there right now. Like, ugh. I can't be sipping on a pumpkin spice drink, when it's 100 degrees outside. Like, I hate this. Oh. In San Diego, where Nanette is, it's ridiculous. It's the only city in America where it's 72 degrees year round. Low is 65, high is 72. 365 days a year. Immortalized money, envy, revenge, in my humble opinion. Yeah, money makes the world go round. 103 in South Louisiana, says Anne. This is totally ridiculous. They say, yes, it is. I'm hoping for this El Nino rain. Just to cool it off. At least the people in the desert, they do get the occasional monsoonal storm and it cools off for, 10 minutes. This is gross. So I can't cook anything where I need to turn on my stove or my oven. I'm just going to thank God for the people here that recommended I buy the air fryer because I'm going to make a turkey burger. At least that's going to be round one. And if I feel like cleaning it out, then I'll put a few like tater tots or French fries in, and that'll be it, Because it's so gross. Like, it's so gross that it's at this time of year that I don't even want to eat much because it's just like, ugh. I just want to like stay hydrated, drink my water. I'm having a treat right now, my last London burger. Get some air fryer liners. Oh, I didn't even know what those were. Let me know. Oh, I'll look those up. Air fryer liners. And who was the guy that we needed to look up in Utah? That Miller guy? What's his first name? Ivan? Was it Ivan Miller? I got to write that down. Let me see who he is, because I'm not familiar with him, I don't think. Oh, they are awesome. It's easy to clean the air fryer itself, but the insert, like the grill part where you put the stuff on, the food, that's the hardest part to clean. And I can't put it in the dishwasher because it has little rubber tips. And they would melt like in the dishwasher. So I just like soak it and scrub it. I'll look those up. Thank you for the suggestion, Kelsers. Saves on cleaning they have for the crock pots too. Oh, okay. I'm definitely going to look that up. But everybody, thank you for coming. I doubt he's still here, but thank you, my friend Saraf, while you're visiting the United States and you were in New York, for sending those super chats. Everybody else has sent a super chat or a jewel. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Every penny helps. Thank you for my 97 channel members. Oh, plus Connie. She sent out 5 new ones today. So Thank you, Connie. I'll have to check the total on the back end and see if I've got enough now to unlock my 14th channel emoji. Oh, thanks for still being here, Donna. Did you eat all those cookies yet, Donna? With the chocolate on them? I still have the 10, Donna, from mine, and I'm like, oh, I want one. And then I realized I ate them. But thanks for coming, everybody. And hashtag justice for Nancy.